Hello my friend and welcome back to Satisfactory. Today we're going to be looking at the largest production unit available to us at the time. It's called the Manufacturer and this sucker is humongous. To produce it you need all sorts of high-end stuff and we're about to put one together right now. What's it going to produce? Well, we have two specific things that we need to produce. If you check the top right corner of the screen, you'll see that my milestones are unlocked for a jetpack. Now, we did motors a little while back, and now it's time to produce computers and reinforced modular frames. So with that in mind, we need two of these altogether, actually, and we can configure them to craft either one of those. Heavy modular frames are going to take the modular frames, their steel beams, the reinforced steel beams, and the screws. And I've taken the liberty of spaghettiing my way of conveyor belts all throughout my factory to get here. And it's pretty insane in there. I'm going to show it to you. But first, let's get all of these things ready. I think the easiest way to do this is just going to be to run conveyor belts. And I'm going to try to get them sort of systematic to where we can do like a 90-degree angle and kind of go from there. Now, you can place these things in ridiculous ways. That's a little bit too far. So let's go ahead and back that off and try it one more time. They can go through almost anything, which is nuts, right? All right, let's go ahead and position that to the fourth one. Okay, so it's going to start becoming a little bit hairy right here, but that's okay. The next deal we have are these beams. So let's go ahead and add them there. I would love a conveyor rack in the game that allowed us to do what the vertical conveyor stackers do, except for side by side, you know? I think that would be neat. Okay, and we're gonna look at wrapping this puppy around like right here. Alright, that's pretty close. It could have been a little bit further in, but I'm not that much of a perfectionist. Now we're gonna need a couple more things. We're going to need the encased industrial beams and 90 screws, and I've run those here. So let's kind of do the same thing. I think I'm going to replace this section of the wall with one of these guys here. Oh, actually, that's not going to work for me. I was going to do the little, I guess you can call it the conveyor walls, but there's not one that does doubles, so I think we're not going to do that anymore. Let's go ahead and put that wall back, and we're just going to run these just like so. So let's do it like this. Probably this is okay. And we're going to run it like this. And let's get right next to it and finally plug it in there. And this one is just going to be just as awful. And let's place it here. And I think that we're just going to go straight in like that. There we go. Okay, so we have all the necessary materials. And we should be configuring this properly as long as we power it. So right now that's all we need. Let's go ahead and put it to some power. And this pole is already full, but we have some extra poles, I do believe. Well, I could have sworn I did. You know what? I'm just going to make another one. I have this one that I can go for here. And we do have one there. Okay, so we should be fine. Okay, so let's go take a look at this manufacturer and see how well it's producing and possibly hook it to some storage as well. Alright, so it looks like it's making one heavy modular frame every 30 seconds. Wow. So we can up that production quite a bit by just applying a few of the overclockers, although it is going to take a lot of power. You can see that it's 55 megawatts of power. I'll tell you what, let's add an overclocker and see what this looks like. And our power consumption is going to go to 105 megawatts of power. And that's going to produce one every 20 seconds, which is going to equate to 3 a minute instead, which is pretty rough. I would hate to see what it would look like if I would add more, but we're going to do it just for science's sake. Now it's 166. And now it's 238. So unless you're just sitting on a ton of excess power, I probably wouldn't recommend this. It would probably be better just to split these guys up and put them on two manufacturers, and I might do that later, but we're going to get to the nitty-gritty first and see where we need to go for these computers. So the computers are just going to be just as crazy looking as far as the spaghetti goes. And if I land on that conveyor one more time, these conveyor level 4s do not mess around, man. They sling you around. So we can do one more manufacturer here, and we're probably going to need to make some more space for it just due to the ridiculous size these things are. I can probably just go further. Let's do that. Let's go over here, and we're going to put one out just this way. We're just going to expand like this. So after grabbing some plastic for the computers and a few more materials, stretching out my foundations a little bit, we can go ahead and put down the second manufacturer. Now, earlier I took the liberty of splitting out my wire from my original storage and that I was using to produce circuit boards. Earlier I took the liberty of taking my wire and splitting it off from my original storage setup and throwing it into here for circuit boards. And I then split that and put it into another constructor to produce cable. So we have our cable component for it, and if we take a look at the manufacturer and we select computer, you'll see that we need circuit boards, cable, plastic, and screws. So screws and plastic are really easy because we're already producing those. Cable we just put together, and circuit boards we just put together. So now all we have to do is run the appropriate storage here. So currently my storage for the circuit boards are feeding into the inside of my factory, and it is going to be crazy to get this back. What I'm going to try to do is just run this as ghetto as I can and just get it out here. And if I can do that, it says floor is too steep, but there we go. It's up there. All right, so that's going to be circuit boards. There's going to be plenty of them coming here. We're going to need plastic, which is already looped for me up top. I'll just have to split it. So let's go ahead and put that into place. So the screws that I'm using are actually going around into the second port, and this is getting blocked. So what I'm going to do is realign this and set it up to where it's not taking so much space so that I can run my screws. So it shows that I can go directly into my third one, which isn't going to be nearly as pretty, right? But it's going to get us started until I can start moving around some walls and stuff. And as far as the screws go, we should be able to split off and come out. If I just grab it here, we'll put it down the middle right here, and it just connects. Now, look at that. Holy crap. Oh, I love it. The chaos is ridiculous, right? Let's go to our logistics and just set our splitter. And we're just going to place the splitter right on the conveyor, just like I did in my tips video. This should work out just fine. Even though it's ridiculous, we'll go ahead and place out and just get it out of here. Just get it out. All right, perfect. Screws are coming out. So maybe a couple of conveyor walls here just to make things pleasant. The original splitter was being a little bit pesky with the placement of the belt, so I went ahead and split it earlier, and I ran it all the way through, and surprise, the conveyors can go through rocks. Like, it's impossible pathing for them, but it works for us, and we're just going to throw that straight into it. So for the plastic, we're going to do something just as awful as we did before. We're going to go ahead and place a splitter right on the cable, and we are going to move this like right through this other conveyor, and then we're going to move that alongside again to probably the third one. It says it's encroaching clearance, so we're just going to have to be careful with that. It looks like it. I'm going to reserve that second slot because what we're going to be pulling from there is going to be probably the cable. The cable is just right here. It's just going to be really, really easy to park. So let's go ahead and just put it right there. And last but not least, we're going to have the circuit boards. And the circuit boards have already been printing as well. Took the liberty of hooking those things around from the storage and bringing it all the way over here. So the final straw is going to be just like this. Wow. What a mess. If you ever saw a messy base, this is turning into it. Let's go ahead and hook the power to this sucker. And we're going to be configuring computers. Now we wait. So we manufacturing now. You know, it's been a little while, and one of the things I noticed about this thing is it's very elegant. I would love to go inside and look at it, but you can't. You absolutely can't. It's a facade. That's a glass pane, and there's a door on the side. So if you look at a constructor, for instance, you could go right up to a constructor and look on the inside and just see what's going on in here. And it's a really, really cool, I guess you could say graphic. I don't know, but this thing, you can't. Now, I could get on top of this thing, but it's solid on top, too. Like, you can't do anything. Let's see if I can... Actually, let's climb up the side with the ladder, and I'll get on top. I'm about to be able to get up here with the jetpack. I should just wait. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so, yeah, you can't access it at all. You can't even see at the bottom, and the other side contains the same setup, really. It's just that little glass deal, and you can look inside, but that's about it. But we've been manufacturing for a little while, and we have got... We just fell off, actually. We've got... Oh, my God, I'm going to have to go back all around. As I was saying, we have stuff in storage. We haven't been going too long, but we've got computers, and we have the modular frames, or the heavy modular frames. So I'm bottlenecked on screws. Right now, I'm not bottlenecked on screws for this manufacturer, but I am the other one, and you can see they're slowly coming in. Now, I could probably overclock the screw production here, or even make a second feed for it. It would probably be easier, but the screw load for this thing is quite hefty. It takes 90 to go, and it's 1 minute to craft, so it doesn't quite produce what I need to, but for the most part, that's what we usually wait on as soon as that runs out. But we've got enough to unlock what we need. So the current milestone that's selected is Jetpack. We're going to go right here into the hub. If it doesn't launch me, and we're going to unlock it. So we need the 50 modular frames here. And we need the 50 computers. And there we have it. Yay, Jetpack!
R&D inflated your pocket dimension and has provided a jetpack
more
which
equipment
operates
space
on
too.
oil-based fuel for increased navigational capabilities as well as odds of survival.
All right. So what I think I'm going to have to do is go over to... I have a little equipment workbench. We'll see what we need to produce this jetpack. And for the jetpack, we're going to need plastic circuit boards, rubber, and cable. Well, we have rubber right over here. When we went and get all that oil, we produced a whole line of rubber, plastic, and fuel. I might as well grab some fuel too. Let's grab 100 rubber, let's grab 100 fuel, and now we'll be able to properly test this puppy out. All right, here we go. Jetpack. Oh, it's about time. I'm going to be able to explore so much stuff with this now. So I've messed around and seen people use this before off cam, and I'm currently using Blade Runners, and I'm going to equip the jetpack, and unfortunately, it does take the place of the Blade Runners, so I won't be able to run as fast, but the jetpack is pretty cool to where it has this. That's right. You fly, your fingers kind of flutter, and you see how the meter doesn't recharge while you're in the air and it's limited? So it's taking fuel as I use it, and you can see that I have 98 fuel right now. I'm going to go ahead and burst up as high as I can. And you can take fall damage doing these jetpacks, but what I would suggest is right before you land, just bump it. Keep a little bit of fuel just to go with it, and you'll see that we already have 96 fuel. So one full boost takes around 2 fuel. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but I think that fuel is pretty easy to manufacture once you get crude oil going. Anyway, another thing that I wanted to show y'all is something that my buddy Drax LP showed me, and that's the ragdoll feature. So if you hold control and shift and you press R, your character just ragdolls. And this is a weird feature, but it actually prevents you from taking damage. So if you're jetpacking, and normally if you would take fall damage, if you hit control shift R before you fall, you don't take any damage. No fall damage whatsoever. You can use this from any height that I've seen. And a lot of people commented on this with my top 15 video, that things you might have not known about Satisfactory. So it's really good. Another thing with the jetpack is it keeps your momentum. So while Blade Runners are faster everywhere else, I can tell you specifically that using your jetpack on a tier 4 conveyor is incredible because you keep the momentum from it. So what we're gonna do is just flop up right here, and let's follow the screws. And we'll let it recharge for a bit. Look at this. Wow. And jetpack. Oh, man. I just fell. Like, I clipped the bottom of it, the very bottom. Okay, let's try that one more time. Let's try it one more time. Oh, I'm so slow without my Blade Runners, though. Maybe that's going to warrant me putting a few more conveyors to travel around my game world with. Probably. I would think that would be the best thing. There we go. Okay. Jetpack. I'm not even pressing forward here. And look at this. Wow. And wreck. Ragdoll. That would have probably been a significant amount of damage if I kept going, but that's crazy. So, like we were having trouble navigating, now we don't even need to worry about walkways. It's really good to get around your base with, to tell you the truth. You could just skip over conveyors and not really have to worry about jumping all kind of stuff when you have spaghetti like I do. And even though the setup used to be real crisp and clean, now it's kind of ghetto. I am producing everything I need for in-game content, and although I'm kind of bottlenecked on screws here, the manufacturers are still producing what they need to, and after a little while it produces everything that you need. The higher end components you only need in certain limits, so if you let it run for a little while, I'm gonna have 50 more computers, and I already have enough heavy modular frames. And if we go over to the hub again and we look to see, I think our next milestone is gas masks. Let's see here. Select milestone. I still have a couple of things to unlock here, but that's nothing. Gas mask is, yeah, all we need is 50 modular frames, 50 computers, and 50 motors, which I have a full storage of. And then that'll give us the ability to go through stuff like that over there. See, with the gas mask, we could probably go and get this slug without taking too much damage. And with the jetpack, I could get up there. But I'm pretty sure that the gas mask is going to go over my... Yeah, it's probably going to go over the body slot too. So I don't know. I would love if you had more slots that you could use all your equipment at the same time. But maybe it's a balancing deal. I don't know. But with my newfound jetpack, I'm going to go ahead and make the gas mask as well, and then we're going to start doing some exploring, because there's some things in the world that a bunch of people have been telling me when I streamed, and some of the things that I discovered on live stream, and there's some things that I have not, like those wreckages that you see every once in a while that you can unlock. Those have hard drives in them that you can scan and get special recipes, like an efficient screw recipe that only takes 2 metal instead of rods, which would be a total game changer, right? It would be nuts. At any rate, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you all really enjoyed it, and next time we come back, we'll get into some exploration with the gas mask and take it for, I guess, a good old adventure. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't already follow me on Twitch, head over to Twitch so you can check out my live stream, twitch.tv/Zueljin. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see y'all next time.